Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and Cho'Gall champions, the true hero, the best hero in Heroes of the Storm. Welcome back to HeroesCCL. My name's Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing. We just had a nice little break, and we are back into the mix. And before we get into anything that is Ball Street or anything about this matchup, of course, as always, I gotta know what you guys got up to on your break. Justing, what'd you do, bud?
Got some more coffee, and I hung out with my girlfriend. That was nice. You're visiting,
nice,
so
cozy
nice.
Afternoon. Nice. Well,
yeah.
And she gets to cheer along with HeroesCCL. So, yay! Grubby, what'd you get up to, bud?
I was looking at some YouTube comments of my latest Diablo Immortal video upload and seeing whether people have been playing that and how much they spent. Someone was like, I already spent $3,000. I'm the best on the server now. I don't think that would be enough.
Now, I don't want to get too into the weeds on this one, but what are your thoughts on the game? Just like kind of gut reaction.
I haven't played it. It's banned in my country.
Oh, right. I forgot because because of the
gambling / monetization scheme.
Yes. Okay.
But apparently you can spend 6-7 figures to get the best gear.
Well, then, on that note,
is that the game? That's how you win?
Yeah. Well, like, you need to do so much spending. Someone calculated it could take 6 or 7 figures to get max gear in the game, and that it's virtually impossible to get it as a free-to-play. So, yeah, I kind of sent out like a warning video, like, hey, it's quite aggressive monetization scheme, and I won't be playing it because it's banned and because of the system. But those that play it free to play, there's like, yeah, it's kind of fun. So
that's where I'm at. I played it free to play. I was like, okay, some cool things, some quality of life things that I'd like to change. But you know what is free to play, Grubby, Justing, and everyone at home? Ball Street. Ball Street is free to play. Did you know that? Because it's up to you to get the best picks for the winning team live as you're watching on cclmarkets.com. It's free. If you pick wrong, you can sell your shares and buy the other team before the match is over. CCL markets trade from 0 to 100 with shares of the winning team valuing at 100 and shares of the losing team expiring at 0. There's tons of prizes this season. So many prizes that Kaiberry is just inundated. She can't even type on the keyboard half the time because she's got so many prizes. So join and play during every HeroesCCL broadcast. I know a lot of people are getting into it. And it's really, really fun. So of course, as always, Ball Street, thank you for joining us for HeroesCCL Season 4. But of course, let's get into the nitty gritty that is our second best of 5 of the day. And Justin, can you break down who's over on Diamond Hands?
On Diamond Hands, we've got Caesar Salad playing the tank, Gotfilth, the ranged flex, Hebi, the support for the team, Nintori, the offlane, Unaverted, the main ranged for the team, and Kelsier is the 6th member. Diamond Hands looking super strong so far in all of our series. They've been the team that has had probably the best macro, and it's a toss-up between them and WildHeart, which is funny enough because those are our top teams right now. But Heavy, known for playing the Stukov with the low blow, he's got a lot of clips with that. Caesar Salad's been popping off this season, getting a lot stronger on things like the Muradin. Gotfilth making crazy plays as well. Everyone's just really stepping up on the side of Diamond Hands.
I put Diamond Hands in the middle of the pack when it came to my power rankings, but I very much regret even putting them there because they look so great this season thus far. But of course, Grubby, it's not only one team on the battleground. We got WildHeart Esports over on the right side. Can you break down this roster?
WildHeart. Justin often mentioned that he thinks IB, Tings, and Mason Blaze are some of the most lethal ranged assassin combinations, where they peel for each other with their damage output and their threat level. The two of them together are a truly lethal duo to the front line of Habin, their Korean tank player, Zerkling, their offlane, and Weary Day, who is one of the best Uther players, if not the best Uther player in this entire league. We haven't seen Roger yet. The starting squad of these 5 players has been an amazing team of competitors, and it has seen them to be at a 2-1 record so far in this league.
Yeah, Diamond Hands sitting in that 3-0, the members of WildHeart at 2-1 in their record. And I have to say here, Justin, watching Habin's Muradin play and just tanking in general, I've actually learned quite a bit about like positioning. Like Habin, I think is a pinnacle for how to position as a tank. I don't know about you, but like there's so much good information just visually from him, because obviously he's not talking in English. But any thoughts on just the tanking that we're going to see from him?
Yeah, he's definitely done a really good job of showcasing the importance of things like anchoring, where you're kind of just playing between you and the enemy out of vision so that they don't really know that you're there, and you're kind of acting as a human ward, like you've called it before. And it's impressive, especially with the somewhat of a communication barrier that exists, to be able to still get that value, and for us to see it without hearing anything. It's cool to see the communication doesn't even need to be there so much, that it's just the synergies already kind of growing between him and the rest of the team.
And we will be getting into a lot of the comps for both these teams as the games progress. But of course, we got to know where we're going to for map number 1 before we even consider what comps to jump into. And let's go ahead and see, because we have got Garden of Terror, chosen by Diamond Hands. For anyone wondering how we got to Garden of Terror, WildHeart Esports won the coin flip, opting for first pick priority and banning out Alterac Pass. Tomb of the Spider Queen will be removed by the members of Diamond Hands. And Grubby, I gotta be honest, with Garden of Terror replacing Volskaya Foundry, this is voted by the players. It's not like something we just decided at Wisdom and said, haha, play Garden of Terror. Garden of Terror was voted in by the players, and we are seeing significant Garden of Terror play throughout every single weekend.
Yeah.
I'm kind of loving it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're seeing this map a lot, often first pick. It's just a popular map. It seems to be actually one of the most standard maps that the players are enjoying. Sky Temple is an unforgiving comeback map. Battlefield of Eternity has an overemphasis on the objective poke. And then Alterac is slow. Dragonshire is complicated with the rotations. Towers of Doom always goes late game. But Garden seems to be, as they see it, one of the most standard maps with a healthy mixture of laning, skirmishing, ganking, vision control, mercenary camps, and a medium strength objective that seems to be the great equalizer for which team is playing better. Having said that, though, Granite Gaming, on the average map, they won this one often, but they didn't win the series. So can't say it's definitely the most average map that there is, but it seems like a solid map for players to basically break their teeth on as a starting one.
Well, I don't want to be breaking any teeth right now. We're just going to be sitting on the caster end of things. I do want to give some stats really quickly before we start jumping into the deep brain that is Justing. Diamond Hands have a 50% win rate on this map, 1 win, 1 loss. The members of WildHeart Esports, they sit in the exact same spot, 50% win rate, 1 win, 1 loss. But Justing, we're loaded on in. We're ready to go. Any thoughts about Garden of Terror or the matchup between these two teams?
It's a bit interesting. I just want to point out that all the maps that have the objective spawning in all 3 lanes have been picked or banned now, which is weird. They banned out Alterac and Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're picking Garden. So kind of weird that there's such a priority on these maps. That I guess that's just something that the players like. I've also just thought it's strange that we've seen so much big maps being prioritized just in general. Just a lot of the big macro maps being prioritized. I don't know if that's I'm curious, I guess, why that is, because it seems to be overwhelmingly the case that we're seeing a lot less of the small maps like BOE, of Tomb, and a lot more of these really big maps like Garden, like Alterac, like Cursed Hollow. And I'm just curious why that is.
Is there an argument to be made that some teams might think that they can just out-macro a team? Because I feel like there have been some weekends of CCL and some matches and some maps where it doesn't even feel like the team fight matters per se. Like it's like we're just pushing lanes, we're rotating, we're poking, like, and we're just whittling down all the outer defenses. I wonder if that's a little bit of the meta shift that we see here, because I feel like that has shown its face from time to time.
I think that's kind of true too, yeah.
Well, with all of us in agreement, we don't need to cast or talk anymore, so we're just going to let the music play. We're just going to sit back and enjoy. No, Grubby, of course. Any thoughts? Because we have had a couple picks so far.
It seems kind of true. Sometimes there is not, like, we're not really talking about how a team necessarily can initiate anymore. We're just seeing that there's heroes that can push forts and towers by themselves, and having Merc and lane pressure build up and having that be a win condition already, while just stalling or capturing objectives with alternate map pressure being built up somewhere else. Yeah, I think that's definitely true, and it's a very standard opening draft here for either sides, with some of the top picks being taken. Literally no surprise with all of these picks: Johanna Regar, Ogre, Sylvanas, and Blaze. Now Hammer is getting banned here, which is interesting. Should also note, by the way, that Roger is playing today for WildHeart. Weary Day is missing today, it seems. Maybe he was not available.
I'm just peeking back at production chat. I don't think they have any notes on it for us just yet. Maybe there is a note, but at this point, yeah, thank you for pointing that out, because we do have that sub coming in here. I do like how much hammer we're seeing, and maybe Justing, this is evidence of scrims where WildHeart saw something Diamond Hands did with a hammer, and they're like, no way. Or even Storm League. Like, Storm League does, I think, have a little bit of effect on what heroes people are playing and what kind of information's out there.
They also might have seen the unaverted hammer video guide that was released somewhat recently.
Maybe, just maybe that too.
CCL socials. But yeah, unaverted also being a bit of a tricky guy, seeing him lock in the Sylvanas kind of reverse mind game sort of thing kind of makes it like, he might not be playing that. Just knowing unaverted it, you see that and you think maybe he's not actually playing the Sylvanas. Like it's too sly for him, but so we do see the hammer being banned away. That makes a lot of sense with how much value unaverted got on it, on Eltric in the previous weeks. We see very standard compositions coming out on both sides outside of the last pick for Diamond Hands. We'll see if they pick something like a Chromie like we've seen a lot of, or if it's going to be something a little bit more defensive. Wow. It is. Okay. So we see the double offlaner on the Garden of Terror, which is something that not super uncommon, and for Dahaka to still be available at this point, it's pretty unheard of. So I like that they're able to prioritize that, getting all three of the kind of best offlaners picked up overall. I like this a lot.
I agree, yeah. It feels like it's a very, very hard composition to step into from WildHeart into Diamond Hands, but as we're about to load in, any last takeaways you have here, Justin?
So I really like that Diamond Hands did this. It is Garden of Terror, where the double offlane thing, where you have kind of the bread of the game sandwich as your offlaners. You have your top and your bottom of your offlaners, and they kind of just enable your three men to run around the map, taking camps and pushing buildings. I like that a lot. They have Sylvanas to do that, so they're able to have an effective push, while Blaze and Dahaka hold down the side lanes. On the other side, you have WildHeart, which has really good siege with Rhaegar Greymane, and Genji is a little bit weird, though, in this composition, especially into all these frontliners. It's going to be really difficult for Genji to get a lot of value here. We'll see if he actually pivots into something like a Reflect build for the Genji, being able to actually get some value against all these tanks. But both comps relatively balanced. Diamond Hands looking a little bit stronger, though, in the draft.
Well, thank you, Justin, as always, because we're loaded on in. Diamond Hands in the blue on the left-hand side, Nintori on the Dahaka, Unaverted on the Sylvanas, Caesar Salad on the Muradin, Hebi on the Anduin, and Got Filth on the Blaze. Over on the side of WildHeart Esports, we're looking at a IB Tings on the Genji, Zergling on the Hogger, Mason Blaze on the Rhaegar, Haben on the Joanna, and Roger to play the Greymane. Grubby, I'm feeling this Garden of Terror sandwich that Diamond Hands is serving up to WildHeart right now, with just the way that Justin was kind of breaking that down with the solo in top and bottom, and then you have this floating Sylvanas, Muradins in mid or wherever. I mean, he's actually floating in between the lanes, but I kind of like how Diamond scales here. I like overall what they've drafted. It's going to come down to execution, obviously, but do you have any thoughts on the draft at hand as well?
It's interesting to see that one of the DPS, Mason Blaze, went into healer. They feel like he's going to be more flexible, and Roger, who plays ranged assassin, is not going to take directly the spot of Weary Day, so a lot of adaptations here for the absence of Weary Day. First game here for Roger. Let's see how he gets on with this aggressive draft. Definitely curious to see what role Genji is going to be taking in such a heavy melee draft. There's a lot of control to stop him. That makes deflag build actually kind of difficult, because this is interruptible by the many forms of CC that there is. Nice root there on Zergling. That's going to be the first blood for Diamond Hands, as Ibitix was unable to save him. The one thing that I can see that might be good for Genji is, and I don't know if this is crazy, Dragon Blade build. Does he want to like sweep through them a couple of times, relying on the Ancestral to keep him alive? Because while Dragon Blade doesn't do as big of a percentage of damage against chunky monkeys, it is easier to hit many of them with a single sweep. So it actually does a pretty decent job of doing good damage into a frontline team. Alternatively, he could go for like X-Strike and then get the resets at 20, which I guess it's more of a storm. Oh, nice kill there by Caesar Salad. Kind of Mason Blaze mistake. He took too much damage from the fort.
Yeah. And here comes the jet propulsion from Got Filth. Caesar Salad doesn't have the cooldown reduction. He did go Sledgehammer at level 4. I was actually talking to Justin about this when we were doing a recording, and I was like, you know, I'm really starting to kind of see. I'm starting to see the see through the fog, and I've been going Reverberation, but there's still that little bit of me that loves Sledgehammer because I'm sorry, Nintori, are you kidding me with that drag?
What? How did he know that he was gonna E through him?
Look, we did. I swear to God, we haven't been leaking the script to specific players. Like, that read right there was so good. But overall, all I want to say is Sledgehammer just feels so good, especially level 10. You get the cooldown reduction baseline. You can pierce through like siege giants. You can actually take camps and do stuff in the siege role.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that's going to be adapted. But honest to God, Reverberation, it's just I've seen the light. I like the utility that you get from it. Dwarf toss in, get your block stacks, hit a big old thunderclap, get cooldown reduction on your heroic, and then continue to apply pressure as that Muradin. But we'll have to see how things progress as the first seed is up and available on the left-hand side.
Don't you think it's weird that Sledgehammer gives more cooldown reduction on an ability that you don't unlock for another 6 levels?
A little bit, yeah.
It's like it's more CDR, and then you're like, what do you mean?
Not
I ain't
yet.
got no CDR.
Soon, though. I will soon have more CDR, but nice poke out from IB over here just to stall out Caesar Salad. Rhaegar is in for the bite. There's still the camp being worked on the left-hand side. Unaverted's very low over here, gets the Leap of Faith from the Endo and will live for now. Mason, Blaze, and Crew step onto the point because the Blaze itself is so very low. Caesar Salad trying to back away the Condemn, pulls him back in, and WildHeart Esports are able to solidify the kill onto Muradin and will pick up their first seed here on Garden of Terror.
I freaking love Greymane's sound design,
Yes.
and together with Rhaegar, it's even better. Like a pack of rabid dogs and wolves jumping on the point there. Diamond Hounds was very loath to give it up, but they had to give away the Bruiser Camp, but not before also losing Muradin, who got interrupted in his jump by Zergling. Nice dodge on the jet propulsion. Growling noises intensify as they turn around on him.
I mean, Hogger may not be a Worgen or a wolf, but he definitely is a Gnoll, so he's got his own version of those growls as well. And honestly, this has been really interesting, the dichotomy on this map, the back and forth, the just engagements we've been seeing everywhere. Great soak, great split, and we are going to be seeing, let's say, quarter, maybe half a level lead to the side of WildHeart Esports with the rotations they've had and the couple kills. I'm looking at a rotation onto Nintori top lane. Here comes Rhaegar. Here comes Genji. Haben's like, nah, you guys got this. I'm going to go Hearth out. And Dahaka rush stalks away down to bottom lane.
Joins his team that just killed a Hager in the bottom lane in a 4 versus 1 for Zergling. Together with Sylvanas, they can now do a nice little push. Does Sylph still have Black Arrows? No, she already used it.
So top lane fork goes down. Drag will connect onto Haven in the bottom lane. Haven's taking a lot of damage, pops the Iron Skin, and is able to back away. We are going to see some pings onto a well. I think Haven's just saying they can tap that well, and he'll just kind of anchor around over here. We're going to see a trade onto the forts, but actually there's keep front gate damage being had by WildHeart. This is the WildHeart momentum that I typically see, and I'm very happy to be seeing right now. As we're seeing a fort trade for a keep front gate, this is still very much in favor of WildHeart. Bless Shield does come out. That's a shockwave as well. Grubby, the fights do not stop.
Yeah, that's a 2 versus 4 that WildHeart was forcing there, and pretty close to actually almost get a kill from it, while they got 2 top tower kills as well on the keep. Yo, this feels very WildHeart.
Yes.
They have many new players, and they've lost a few, but this reminds me so much of the WildHeart game from either Season 2 or 3, where they had the Justin, Varian, Colossus smash going to keep basically at 4 minutes on Dragon Shadow.
Yeah, that was that top lane. I think that was Season 2, but like, yeah, that was after.
Could have been Season 3. Yeah, you're right.
I literally, and I can't tell you how much, like, after watching that game, how many Colossal Smash games I played. I've actually been playing a lot more Colossal Smash with Varian, because actually Justin and I did a video together, and he actually taught me a couple nuances. He's like, once you get to level 7 and you finish High King's Quest with Colossal Smash, and I think it's Victory Rush. I always mix up the two level 7s, but it's the one where you drop below and you get extra health. With those 3 towns and
Second wind,
thank you. If you finish out your High King's Quest, you actually are like almost unkillable, like below 50% HP as long as you're autoing. It's a really fun build. You can top damage. We'll have to get Justin to break that down further for us, because we have a seed spawning. This could be over the side of WildHeart.
been a very high-pace game, and WildHeart, despite losing a couple of heroes early, they have the XP lead. They've taken down a fort. They've taken down keep walls. It's insane. Definitely making this draft work so far. We thought maybe Genji's going to struggle.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be the case. He is the highest hero damage in the game right now,
Wow.
IB thinks, and he hasn't been out-controlled by the heavy front line just yet.
And all heroics, actually no, everything but Black Arrow or Wailing Arrow is available for this next engagement. And Diamond Hands, they gotta step into this unless they want to eat an objective phase. And top lane, okay, sorry, I saw a dwarf toss and I was like, wait, which way are we engaging? But just to note really quickly for anyone wondering, Dahaka does have brush stock available.
All right, let's get a little temperature check, vibe check, and jump into some comms. And let's go into WildHeart comms.
Here we go.
He needs up in the top? Okay. It's fine.
It's okay.
I can probably still stall at least one time. Maybe 2 times.
As long as we don't die for it, it's fine. They're gonna do hards and push bottom. Bottom might just be dead. I'm gonna push out top some, and then we can just push mid.
I
Okay.
one stall.
Just going straight from it.
It's okay. The objective doesn't matter.
Murden's on our side.
Yeah.
They're doing their hearts right now.
Yeah.
I do like the realization not to stick around and just be like, oh, we have to delay and we can wait till the death timer is through and blah blah blah. It's like, no, like let's delay once, go clear out waves, and it's not that big of a loss for them. But I was hoping they were gonna be a little more flavor in that one.
Well, you remember they just lost Johanna the moment we came in. It was kind of a cursed moment to go in. Johanna got full CC'd, couldn't even
Ouch.
press Iron Skin, so my bad, I guess, for the timing.
That's okay. We'll jump into some other comms. We'll definitely hear through some of these from some of these teams or both of these teams as the games progress. But another seed to be had here. This will be on the favored side of Diamond Hands. 13 apiece, 4 kills to the side of Diamond Hands. WildHeart Esports. It's crazy. Like I read that out loud and I was like, really? Diamond Hands has 4 kills? Like it doesn't feel that way at this point in the game. I don't know why.
Yeah, because I guess it's been because WildHeart has like always mitigated it in a very Lost Vikings-esque fashion, where when you get kills against Vikings, it's like doesn't matter. The Vikings team is still pushing 3 lanes, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what's been happening for WildHeart. They've been pushing hard, defending aggressively every lane, and somehow their XP is in like a fantastic spot, which is weird, right? Because there's 2 solo laners on the side of Diamond Hands. How are they getting out XP'd in minions?
And that is, mercenary experience is a big driving factor. There is a little equalization from heroic kills by about 1,000 difference on that. But I don't need to break down the stats right now. I need to break down this fight because we have a cursed bullet. That's a shockwave from the Hogger as well. Some chain heals coming out from Mason Blaze. And we're just waiting. We're waiting to see if there's another re-engagement. Shockwave on a 60-second cooldown. Cursed bullet on 15 seconds. Drag attempted. Also bunker down for 48.
Bahamut, you're absolutely right. Oh, hold that thought. That's nice staggering blow. That's not a big light bomb. Ogre trying to run away. He's blind. He's been blinded. Drag tongue misses just by a hair's breadth. And then the turnaround with the blessed shield. Roger wanted to jump in, but he couldn't because he got double rooted by Anduin. Caesar Salad is low. Sylvanas goes down also. Got filth. Getting blocked there by Ivy Tings. What a furious battle here by WildHeart as they get the triple kill. Finally equalized in kills.
It's a triple kill. The wave actually in bottom lane is pushed up. Hogger will get the bounce. He will get the seed. But now what does WildHeart do with this? I wonder if Hogger, does he delay out just a little bit? No, he's going to go for the channel immediately. Because the Garden Tear spawns up as far as your actual minion wave. So, like, right now...
You thought maybe clear top first?
I was thinking, like, maybe they push up mid a little bit, and they actually did do that. But I was actually peeking on bottom lane. Anduin killed the minion right before the Garden Tear was getting into lane. If Anduin didn't kill that minion in bottom, the Garden Tear would be, like, almost at the keep already. So, just really cool, little mechanical stuff for the map like this, as Caesar Salad has to dwarf toss away. Chastise will connect. And we have a little bit of a poke during this objective through mid.
There's a Stormbolt on Johanna. There's the follow-up jet propulsion. He drops real low, actually. He's really baiting the fact that he has Iron Skin and can use it at any time. Once that actually went wrong for Haben, but this time he played it just right. Delaying everyone mid allows for more space to open up in the top and bottom. This Garden Terror is still very healthy. It has a health pool currently of 6,000 still, so that's just about a big tank's worth.
Jump propulsion from Blaze. There's going to be the cleanse onto the Hogger. Wailing Arrow goes out. And disengaged from WildHeart Esports. We will be seeing the Blessed Hammers popped by Haben, which will kind of dismount anyone trying to step up, slow down that chase in. And overall, WildHeart just slowly pushing in this map, slowly but surely, as the kills are equalized here. Experience is a level ahead for said WildHeart crew. And it looks like both teams will just respectively get their camps. I was looking to see what Joanna's doing. She's just anchoring to see if there's an invade onto her camp over there.
Nothing there. Not going to take it by himself. As they go back up top, they're looking at top siege camp. You can see Rigger immediately initiating it. Very impressive for WildHeart, the 2-1 team here against the 3-0 team to start so strong, even with Mason Blaze on a different role.
Sorry, Zergling just got such a great... Those sidewalls, it's a very, very small amount of terrain, and Zergling got the angle with the staggering blow. That was just really, really cool. That's why it caught me off guard there for a second. So far, both of these teams are really... I mean, WildHeart is showcasing a lot of really good skill, but also that Tahaka earlier with the drag onto IB Ting says that's a leap of faith through the mid-air. CCL does pop that avatar. The keep in top lane is dropping to around 50% as the Grey Mane continues to keep his Inner Beast active. We know it's active because he has the glow on his weapons right now, that purple glow. Haben steps in, pops the Iron Skin. The keep shall fall, but is there more? CCL Dwarf tosses in? Ooh, that was risky to me.
It definitely was risky, and he took a cursed bullet to the face, plus a single Dark Flight from Greymane, as Greymane did a juke move that saw him to leave that position once again. Caesar Salad trying to bait WildHeart to stay and overcommit to himself when there's still a light bomb available. Unable to be that bait. WildHeart not taking the bait and leaving, and that pretty much... Well, I'm gonna say that pretty much guarantees their safe level 20, but they are giving up objective here. And this is very intentional by WildHeart. They don't want to risk a pre-20 fight. They've got an easy clear in the... Well, do they have an easy clear? It's actually quite delayed.
Yeah.
It kind of hits in a synchronized manner. I wonder how WildHeart will prioritize this.
We do have the Spores, or the Night Terrors, there we go, getting into each lane, and they're a little bit far back, as I had mentioned the mechanic earlier, but this does kind of slowly push up these waves, which will guarantee that 20 for WildHeart. And you can see, look at that, mid lane, the moment WildHeart hits 20, Diamond Hands immediately starts just going somewhere, anywhere else, because they know that they can't find a fight. All they can do is just grab soak in waves that don't have the enemy WildHeart members in, and even then, like, oh, I guess actually showing a couple members in top, I think Diamond Hands is fine to do what they're doing in bottom. A little risky there for a second, but it's all A-okay. Are they setting up some sort of gank in the rotation? No, just looking at the Murden positioning, seemed like there was like some sort of gank in the mid lane, but unaverted, just trying to push things up, open the map up, and pick up more experiences. There's a level to go for 20. WildHeart Esports already hit it.
The problem for Diamond Hands here was that all three are roughly hitting synchronized. Only top and mid had a high chance of getting some kind of structural damage. Mid arrived first, so they show up mid to try and do something, but level 20 was reached, so Diamond Hands has to leave. Then, of course, WildHeart wants to protect top forward, so you've got Diamond Hands falling bot, because there's nothing to get there. They can't really commit. They could try to go all the way to the keep wall, and they could definitely help the Terror to get there and do some damage. But because of the circular size of the map, it would never be able to make it home without getting cut off somewhere in the middle bottom of the map. And hardstoning is risky because someone can come in and interrupt. The Diamond Hands pretty much didn't have any choice to do any kind of serious push anywhere. All it gave them is closing the gap from level 18 flat to 19.5 at the cost of 2 plant bots, let's say, 2 seed objectives. Now they're very far away from getting the objective again, and they just need to stay alive. They want a safe keep, but realistically, Bahamut, they can't. They're gonna have to play from a 1 versus 5 forward situation.
Hey! Blessed Shield, Cursed Bullet, Wailing Arrow. A lot of heroics are being utilized. That's a shockwave from Hogger connecting onto Got Filth, who will get saved by the Anduin Leap of Faith. 58 seconds on any charge for Leap of Faith, for anyone wondering. So no pull for the Anduin available. And here's, as Grubby predicted with his crystal ball, the keep does go down.
I found it again.
Yeah,
I found the crystal ball again.
We really need to get Logan to take that away from you, to be honest. It's really kind of breaking the CCL like prediction value. But no, realistically, I mean, you read this right, and you are very correct in this manner, because They needed to turtle up on the side of Diamond Hands for 20. They've done so. For anyone wondering, Dahaka is showing in top. He does have the brush stock available. He went Contagion, and this seed can just be given. I don't think WildHeart or Diamond Hands really needs to concern themselves with this right now. I think they just push back the waves and look to kind of slow down the bleed on the map, because a lot of the map is red pushing into the side of Diamond Hands.
Do you feel like it's correct for WildHeart to take both camps right now? Like, this is the Storm League timing. The moment you can, you do it. Is it correct? Because it won't synchronize with the next objective now.
I feel like I'm looking. Oh, I was wondering if it's one of those things where they're just trying to push stuff into the lanes ahead of time and then maybe look for a rotation and a gank like that. But it's not going to be the case whatsoever. IBTings was sitting in that bush, acting like the ward, as we've talked about beforehand, getting vision for the team. Hogger gets the camp in bottom. Top lane, Bruisers will come through. 4 to 5 in kills, 20 apiece, 1 to 5 in structures as IB puts pressure on Unaverted.
Nice damage. He did double Shuriken Shinkan into Sylvanas. It's good pokes. Anduin has decent sustained heals. Not as, let's say, consistent as Brightwing, but solid. And now you see that delayed Bruiser camp that was intentionally delayed by WildHeart, as I kind of alluded to, only now being able to be cleared. And that's going to put Diamond Hands not just in a slow position to the objective, but also coming from a predictable angle with all vision being revealed, while their very keep bottom is being threatened by another siege camp push. So they need to make this fight happen fast. Diamond Hands wants to have a fight in less than 10 seconds. Anything more than that is a massive loss for them, and WildHeart knows it.
They're kiting back the enemy, and it worked out for a little bit right there. Murden drops to about 50%. Doesn't pop the avatar, holding that for now. Looking to see, he does have the level 16 activatable for some extra healing over time. We do see a camp being worked on over here. Will be Leash. Got Filth is going to pop his level 1. He's going to try and back away with the Pyromania leap in with the Light Bomb. Connects onto Haben. Actually, might have been a Iron Skin to just mitigate that completely, but here comes a Wailing Arrow, the bunker down from Blaze. We have got Dentori just trying to make something happen. Lands a drag. The cleanse out from the Rhaegar as well, as Gotfilth is sitting on a sliver of HP. Gets healed up, but can he back away? Caesar Salad trying to get out of here. The value of the Farseer's Blessing coming through. No control from Zergling. He's chasing in, looking at Hebi. IB gets the kill onto the Dahaka. And that is a lone Hebi trying to win, but it's not going to work out. Meanwhile, in bottom lane, the keep will fall. A pentakill to the side of WildHeart Esports. And WildHeart Esports, they will close out map number 1 in a dominant 5-kill fashion, and they will start their lead in this best-of-5 series. GG. Well played.
Coincidence that the first time that Roger plays, they win with a 10-4 takedown score?
10-4, good buddy. I mean, it's they're definitely doing well.
You get it? Roger that, 10-4?
Yeah, 10-4, yeah. No,
okay.
No, you're big brain. You're big braining today here, Grubby. I know. See, the thing is, sometimes, chat, we have to explain these jokes because that's the best way that everyone knows comedy's the best when you overly explain the joke, right, Justin?
Yeah, that's. I think jokes are usually funnier like the second or third time.
Yeah.
Also.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, did you notice that the score was 10-4 and Roger's in the game?
Oh my god. Yeah.
I think it just got worse.
Please save us, Justin. Save us.
4 to 10 was the kill score. So this is where the analysis begins.
This physically hurts. Please analyze the game.
All right. So Roger, as we're mentioning it, 10-4 was the scoreline. It was our MVP for this game. Roger on Greymane played very well, actually. He pretty much always was able to keep his movement speed up at 13, which is something that you don't see all that often. It felt like he pretty much always had that up once he hit level 13. And Mason Blaze, the true flex for the team, even being able to flex over from playing that hard range position into playing the support. Something that I don't remember exactly the full roster because I think it's changed a bit, but Roger was a player who played in NGS with Mason Blaze and Tremor and I believe Zergling at one point in time.
I think so,
but Mason Blaze was actually the support for the team, so it's not a huge surprise to see Roger playing that ranged position and Mason Blaze flexing over to the support. And they still have that synergy from when they used to play in the NGS before they were in the CCL. So, and Roger is just a player that he's been in the amateur scene for a while, and he's just a really solid player. And he showed up this game on Greymane especially. I was watching him and Mason Blaze quite a bit, being able to just kind of control the front line with damage like we saw before, and controlling the macro as well. This last fight was a bit of desperation for Diamond Hands, where you have the Siege Shines pushing in bottom, and Diamond Hands had gotten a lot of praise for their macro, but WildHeart macro a little bit better in this situation, being able to set up the play. So Diamond Hands in a position where they felt very desperate, and they overcommit to the fight because they're worried about the Siege Giants that are pushing in bottom, maybe taking the fight a bit too anxiously. Something else that we've noticed is Anduin is a hero that has no mobility and has no escapes. He has to stand still to cast, and that's fine on small maps, and it's fine in the early game when you always have a fort to retreat to. But on these big maps, I'm noticing it quite a bit, that as you get into the late game, as you lose your structures, it becomes quite the detriment. If you want to stand in the middle of the map on a humongous map like this and start fighting, and there's things like Genjis and Greymanes running at you, you kind of just leave yourself in a position where the enemy team will run past your team and just start fighting you if you try to help people, and you kind of get left in the middle of nowhere. And we saw that quite a bit into the late game here, where Anduin's not really safe anymore once the forts go down. So it's something to maybe think about with the drafts going forward on these big maps, is Anduin is looking a little bit rough. Something like a Brightwing is a lot safer. But WildHeart looking really, really good in game one.
Yeah, I think WildHeart has convinced me that they are here to play. Like not that a team comes in and like, oh, we're gonna phone it in, but like WildHeart, they're here to like win a 3-0. They don't want extra games today. After losing to, I believe it was 30K last weekend, 1-3. I think WildHeart is in, or not weekend, but 2 weeks ago. WildHeart is here, and they want this victory. They want that total score of the 3-1 victory. They want to give Diamond Hands their first loss in the series, or in the season, and that might be possible, but we still have more maps to go. Before we jump into where we're going to for map number 2, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone at home who have been pushing up that prize pool. We've broke $8,000 because of your generosity. Thank you very, very much for supporting HeroesCCL, and if you would like to push that prize pool, maybe we hit $8,500 today. I don't know. You guys are super generous. Maybe you're feeling extra generous. If you'd like to donate to the prize pool, ! Prize pool in chat. But as I mentioned, we are ready to go for map number 2. And Grubby, can you break down where we're heading and who chose it?
We're gonna be heading over to a temple in the sky. It's gonna be Sky Temple, and on this map, you want to have strong global presence. Sylvanas, Falstad, Dahaka, Brightwing are fantastic here. You need a very safe solo laner, because if there's one true fact about Sky Temple, it's that the forts aren't going to be standing for long. This has a relatively strong, I want to say 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 strength objective. It offers siege damage, safe distance, either you get it or the opponent gets it. It's laser straight to the fort, which is going to give you bonus passive experience. It takes away defensive layers of fallback points, which makes you more gankable. The map is wide open with very few places to escape to. Watchtower makes it feel even more claustrophobic if you're behind on the map. So it is very difficult to get away with basically any immobile character. If Anduin struggled on Garden of Terror, it would be even a greater struggle here. High mobility comps and heroes that offer mobility to allies are extremely valuable here. As well as in the past, Abathur, but he's fallen off a bit. Watch out for Lucio bans here. Watch out for Tyrael picks sometimes here, as movement speed and mobility is quite key.
And you know, honestly, Grubby, you know who's really, really good on this map? A hero that is valued but kind of undervalued in a lot of senses?
Harrison Jones.
Yes, Harrison. No, it's Falstad, actually. I feel like Falstad kind of slips through this draft way too often. Like, I feel like I go to Sky Temple and it's just no one really considers it, even in some of my own games. So I really do think that this is one of his best maps. You've got boss control, you've got point control, you've got poke value, you've got mobility to get over the walls. Flight is a great tool as well. But of course, Justin, can you break down why Harrison Jones is the better hero here?
Yeah, Harrison Jones is the best.
That's your little map lore right there. You can free him. But...
Yeah.
But realistically,
you can free him.
Let's talk about the draft at hand, because we already are getting through a couple bans, and maybe Lucio finally makes his way through. I doubt it. Oh! Any Lucios?
Not. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to.
It is it's like I don't think, and Grubby, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's a bad map for Lucio per se. Like, I think he works almost anywhere.
But this isn't his best. It is very good for him, but I think that his best maybe is Towers of Doom. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, the rotations aren't quite as important here, and like we heard in the interview earlier, the main value is that being the mosquito is the interrupting the rotations of the enemy tank. it is a lot less important on Sky Temple than on towers. So, but Lucio's just very strong everywhere. I almost feel as though Diamond Hands was sort of calling a bluff of WildHeart that since Mason Blaze is the one playing the support, that maybe he's not so comfortable playing Lucio, and that Lucio's a really high skill cap support that has like a very niche playstyle. But I think that Mason Blaze is experienced enough and good enough in general to pull it off. And it's not like this is the first time he's played support, because I did mention he's played support in NGS before, so he can do it.
I did a little digging right now. Mason Blaze is a casual level 33 Lucio on his in his repertoire. So I know levels levels don't equalize like I have a level 100 Asmodan, I win every game. No, it's not true. But it's still he's practiced, he's played it. That's the big thing that I wanted to point out with that level 33.
How do you know that?
I have a big brain. It's gigantic. It's massive.
I know.
No, I'm a referee in the game, so I can do a little bit of digging on profiles. So that's the reason. Yeah. I get that extra specialness, so I can see.
I want to be a referee too.
I'll let the admins know in our post-mort. I'll definitely do that. But of course, Grubby, there's been some cool bans, and we've had some cool picks. What are you thinking here?
Genji ban.
Mm-hmm.
Genji ban is interesting.
Okay.
I can't really see exactly why. I just know that Hogger can have a tough time into Genji by himself. It's pretty hard for Hogger to like kill Genji or to get away from him, but with help, Hogger can be a counter to Genji. But he needs someone else to stun him first. Nubrak is going to come out here. Cocoon can be strong. Rhaegar. You can also... Yeah, I think it can be strong against Rhaegar. And that's two push heroes, right? Sylvanas and Nubrak. So now there's a lot of threat coming out of WildHeart against undefended lanes.
And not only that, I mean, you could cocoon the Tychus, and then there's no one to shred through the cocoon at that point as well. Nubrak can solo the objective phase with the Beetles, as you were mentioning, and he's can push in with Sylvanas. I'm liking what WildHeart's drafted so far, but Justin, we're getting the latter half, the last couple picks from these teams, and I want to see what you're thinking here, because Sonya, Greymane, really strong heroes in the dive synergy.
Yes, Sonya, very strange. Something that we basically never see anymore. She was pretty meta when things like double support were a little bit more prevalent. Things like Medivh, Uther. Picking it here is very strange. So they're just overloading their composition with damage. That seems to be kind of their strategy. Having the Sonya and the Greymane is sort of just two hyper carries that you need to focus. So it's not just one carry. It's not just, oh, we can just kill the Sonya. It's both. The Lunara picked up as the response, so a lot of spread slow damage coming out from WildHeart as kind of the response to, instead of just focusing down one of the targets quickly, looks like they're going to be playing more for a sustained composition to kind of delay the fights out as long as possible. Hogger does have the tools to do that, and Nubarak's not really the best at doing that. I wonder if the Sonya is maybe also just a response into the Anubarak in particular. Anubarak really does poorly into things that do good sustained damage like the Sonya does with the slams, and does a lot of physical damage like the Sonya does. And Greymane is kind of the obvious counter to Anubarak, so that one makes a ton of sense. But it's definitely strange. I'm kind of in the thinking that Sonya should only really be picked in double support. That's sort of the way that I feel that her kit is designed. She's like something that you enable with double support, and they don't have that. So I'm expecting the Sonya to get completely bullied by WildHeart and to get kind of just kited out, especially with the movement speed from Lucio. That makes it very, very difficult to play a melee like that. So I'm expecting WildHeart to kind of just shred Diamond Hands in this game when it comes to the team fights.
Well, thank you, Justin, for the analysis and breakdown, because we are loaded on into map number 2 here on Sky Temple. We've got Diamond Hands on the blue, Nintori on the Sonya, Heavy on the Rhaegar, Got Filth on the Greymane, Caesar Salad to play the Joanna, and Unaverted on the Tychus. Over on the side of WildHeart Esports, looking to continue their dominance in the series and make this a 2-0 through Sky Temple. In our best of 5, we got Mason Blaze on the Lucio, Haben on the Anubarak, Zergling on the Hogger, Roger on the Sylvanas, and Ivy Tings on the Lunara. And of course, I have to check, no one freed Harrison Jones, so Grubby, of course, this map, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter who wins, but actually, we have an immediate dive into top lane to try and put pressure into this lane. And we can talk about whether this lane is so important. Of course, I want to get your thoughts here as well, as I'm looking at WildHeart to win this one.
I'm starting to see how teams actually draft Johanna, like how they use a Johanna, let's say. Okay. Because Johanna has defensive properties, it seems like she's the new, easier Tyrael. Tyrael offers shields. First kill on Godfield. Nice job, WildHeart.
First blood.
First blood, same time, James.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, just they'll just edit it together in post. But no, of course, I want to get your thoughts as well. So.
Yeah. People take riskier, higher damage comps when they have Johanna. Just like last game, WildHeart, they had Johanna with a dive comp. Now it's Diamond Hands doing the same thing. So it's kind of like what Tyrael used to enable, a dive comp. Like, yes, we have heroes that can be bullied. That's Justin Prophesied or Sonya, but there is a blind, so you're not doing as much damage. Could even be Falling Sword. It could be Falling Sword. I still think it's going to be Blessed Shield. But still, the blind plays a really large role there. I think it's interesting to see. Sonya going to be joining there on the Bruiser camp. And you also mentioned, Bahamut, that top lane is quite important.
Yes.
Bruiser camp, when used well and when you're pushing with it, it can kill the wall and then the top temple will kill the opponent's fort. Just to kind of say why an early fort is good besides catapult pressure, early forts give an additional per second passive experience contribution. And in the last game, WildHeart killed the top fort so early that they had 14,000 passive XP versus 12,000. And that constituted a large XP advantage that gave them nearly 3/4 of a level. So that meant they were constantly a talent up or a level up a bit earlier than Diamond Hands. And it was 100% from passive XP. So yeah, if you can get a fort early, that's super, super valuable.
I absolutely agree, and I mean, some people might say like 2,000 difference. That's really not that much. It's like no, actually, in Heroes of Storm, yeah, that could be a significant half level, almost a whole level, as we were discussing in the last game. So, thank you, Grubby, for breaking down all those things because we do have our first objective phase up and available, top and mid. Sky Temple's first 2 objective phases are standardized, meaning it will always spawn in the first objective phase, top and center, and the second objective phase will be a singular temple in the bottom of the map. After that, it randomizes, and that's where the chaos and the fun does begin. Well, I guess the chaos and fun begins when the temples, or when the gates open up and the battle does begin. But the top lane pressure, this is what we were talking about earlier, or this is what Grubby was talking about, this pressure. If you can take down the fort front gate and then capture the top temple, you can guarantee yourself that top lane fort. But we'll see, because what Diamond Hands is doing a great job of holding strong and not letting WildHeart push in too much, if at all, through this top lane. Got Filth getting poked. We do have the solo laners, Hogger and Sonya, battling out around the center altar, but Diamond Hands might be making a rotation onto Hogger, but he's wise to this and backs away.
Really bad feeling for Diamond Hands as both temples were against them. Hogger starting to take mid, who even had lane prio advantage on the mid and bot. And then also, basically, Mason Blaze. Mason Blaze pretty good on Lucio, man, so far. It has looked good. Mason Blaze, Roger, and Ivy Tinks stopping anyone from stepping up. As really, Jonna has no... Oh, there we go. There's the first bully of the Sonya.
And this is also what we were talking about. Oh no, the damage every time activate. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. You're like, oh no. I'm like, what? But Bahamut, you're crazy. He did die.
I think I was feeling for the gray main there. I was like, oh no. Okay, anyways. But I think right there, like, that Sonya kill was a great example of the harassment, the baseline skill or utilization that a Lucio does have. That knockback, that slow with the push-off, all of these things, this super CC, as we were kind of joking about earlier, the displacement's so strong with the Lucio, and it's such a short cooldown on that sound wave, only being at what, like 7 seconds? Yeah. I think
he gets a very short. He gets a very short sound wave cooldown. He has the CDR, so it goes from 7 to 4 seconds, and it gives him a shield every time. 52 hitting a minion, or 156 shield to hit a hero. And on a 4-second cooldown, that's pretty solid. 156 shield is about 8% of his maximum health. So getting that every 4 seconds is pretty solid. And it stays with you for 7 seconds. Now, Mason Blaze, will he fall afoul here of the gank there? No, he does not. He is safe and cool as a cucumber.
We do have that Sentinel Wisp for the Lunar. I like to remind people that that little red reticle over Caesar Salad's head that you might see pop up or unaverted right now, that means that they're within that range of the Sentinel Wisp for WildHeart. So WildHeart can see the enemy in that. So there was, Caesar Salad sitting in the bush. Like, WildHeart knew. They were like, okay, if we step into a bush, there's a Joanna. So with that vision being provided in bottom, and with no one really leaving bottom lane, Zergling and crew, they get a free fort through mid, and they've already taken down top. Whereas on the opposing side, we look around the structures, we've got a gate and a tower in top, a gate and a tower in mid, and nothing down on the side of WildHeart. WildHeart right now controlling map number 2 on Sky Temple as we prepare for our second objective phase.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because Diamond Hands' draft could be fine on a kind of slow defensive map like Dragonshire. You would use Johanna to constantly mitigate damage, you would take camps, they've got all the wave clear they want. But because Lucio is here, suddenly there's an issue where you literally can't engage. So you have WildHeart attacking a fort with Black Arrow, with Sylvanas and with a Nubarak. Then you respond to it, but you can't punish them. You can't power slide through them. Can't catch them with the Blessed Shield because you're not level 10 yet. You don't have another tank. It's Johanna. So it's the extreme mobility that WildHeart has, along with their push power, that has seen them an amazing 2-fort advantage. Haben is going to burrow charge out.
Nice.
No problemo. And they get away. Finally, when Diamond Hearts can decide a battle with Blessed Shield, WildHeart leaves. Frustrating for Diamond Hands, to be sure.
And I'm looking at Lucio. He's been holding his level 10 for a level and a half right now. He knows what the enemy team has. I don't know if there's another talent that he's waiting for.
Why you go Sound Barrier?
Yeah, I was actually about to talk about why High Five is so good with Leap and Blessed Shield and so many other abilities around. Like, all right, I guess we're Sound Barriering this one. And maybe
I think he's afraid. He's
Okay,
afraid to save someone from a Blessed Shield because Blessed Shield is to kill the tank. But
Okay.
you will take a 3/4 stun yourself when you try to come in to save someone. Like, Blessed Shield is actually really hard to cleanse as Lucio because of the secondary and the tertiary bounce.
Okay.
And then there's the problem with layered CC is that you try to save one person, and then a second later the leap comes in, and then you get implicated as well. So instead he wants to have a big team fight, go in with the sound barrier and say, yeah, we may get stunned, but we can't die.
Yeah,
There isn't that much CC after all.
Wailing Arrow, Sound Barrier coming out from the Lucios. We have the Ancestor Healing connecting onto Unaverted. That's going to be a trade, a Nubarak for the Sonya. Heavy looking to run away. Mason Blaze looking to just apply more pressure here. We had a tank for a Sonya, so that means we still have the Joanna on the side of Diamond Hands, around 50% a little less than 50% mana. And once again, it's Diamond Hands just giving up a structure here.
Well, is it given or taken by force, by right of conquest, am I right?
I mean, I say this, and I did not take stock of what's happening in top lane, so it is Diamond Hands saying, okay, we lose 4, but we got to clear out top lane. The reason I'm a little surprised by the sound barrier, and I agree with you, like the stun, CC, all that kind of stuff from Blessed Shield, those bounces, the primary, secondary, and tertiary, they are really annoying. I was thinking about mixing fire value at level 20 for the reduction of healing from the Ancestor Healing and the Farseer's Blessing. That was kind of my mentality, but I agree with you that the bounces of the Blessed Shield could be detrimental to that Lucio, and if everyone groups up, and we land a big sound barrier, the team fight should go the way of WildHeart, but we'll have to see what happens here as another temple phase spawns on the top of the map and the bottom. What will the split look like from these teams?
I agree with you. Mixing fire is fantastic, but it's waiting for a level 20 in a game that they could potentially snowball. He's instead going for the level 10 value. A small little burrow charge, try to get leap. That leap is kind of strange. Sound barrier to save a Nubarak. Haben with the cocoon on Greymane. There's a wailing. Boss is still half-life. Hoger comes in with the flank with the shockwave. Caesar Salad trying to get away. He can't.
Unaverted tries to back away, but his mech is too big. He did not pilot that Jaeger correctly. We still have Lucio chasing onto Sonya, and he is unthreatened. It's Nintori that actually really needs to get away. Had to spear onto a minion to just try and increase the gap, but even then it was still that push-off value. I also want to point out that we have heavy casters for the Lucio. We've been seeing this more and more in HeroesCCL, where basically your push-off no longer slows, but has a 0.5 stun, and we don't have to talk about talents, because Grubby, we got a replay, and I'd love for you to break down how this went all WildHeart.
So look, the boss is only half-life, so there's no real pressure. The leap was a little weird, but the sound barrier was fantastic to save a Nubarak and give a little buffer to everyone else. The Hogger really the nail in the coffin there. As he came from the flank, hit the shockwave, everyone ignoring the boss, you see. It's all about the kills.
It's almost like that Warcraft line, like, they came from behind, like that one. Like, that's all I could hear. I watched a lot of your streams, actually, I'll be honest.
And that voice line comes up all the time.
That voice line does not stop. I always notice that one. But either way, double temple phase to the side of Diamond Hands, and they are shredding through the economy that is the structures of, or excuse me, WildHeart is getting these temples and shredding through the economy that is Diamond Hands structures as these last shots do rain out. Bottom lane keep is sitting at what? I gotta do this math. Sitting at 2,239 HP. Very low keep in bottom.
That is 11.1%. Not very healthy, has seen better days. And what's more is all 6 forts are still available for WildHeart.
Oh,
they're
look
doing
at
so good. Yep, they're going for it.
I mean, this is consistent catapult pressure. This is more passive experience gain. I don't think WildHeart looks to end here. They do have a... Wait, do they? They have a 2-level lead. They have a 2-level lead. Hearths are coming out. There's the tornadoes.
It's to push people home. You force a move. You say A, they say B, and that allows Hogger to do a 1v1 defense stop.
And this should be
Genius.
the structure. And yeah, no, this is big brain, big brain coming out from WildHeart as Zergling. I think he's going fishing for a Tychus, but there's nothing to be caught on the line as he goes back to clear out the top lane.
Yeah, nice defense there from WildHeart. One keep alive. It's entering desperate territory, so can I just warn people, if you think, hey, that was weird by Diamond Hands, why did they do that? They literally don't have any valid plays anymore. So whatever happens next is going to be the best thing that they could do in their mind. Like, even if they take like a weird fight and you're wondering why, waiting is the surest way to lose Sky Temple when you're behind.
I absolutely agree. I feel like this map, you can never be passive, and we're going to see Nintori go in with the leap. Haven was in the bush behind us. There's going to be the cocoon on the Rhaegar. Haven still putting pressure onto the enemy. That's great damage onto Heavy, who gets the Ancestor healing, but Unaverted is split from the team. He's peeled, and he's shredded. He's gonna be dead with the Rhaegar as well. Got Filth is just looking to make some trade happen, but it's a triple kill to the side of WildHeart, and they're making a Worgen Pie. Oh, I guess Tychus is in there as well, but still, it's a triple kill, and WildHeart Esports, they're gonna run towards bottom lane. I tried to make some food analogy, but it just didn't happen.
But why did Diamond Hands do that attack?
Honestly, I mean, I feel like that was like what you're saying. Like, that's all they had. Like, Nintori was like, I got a leap angle. Let's try and make it happen. But Haven was in the bush, and I don't think they knew where Haven was.
They didn't care. Like, at that moment, you shouldn't think
you're
anymore.
Right. Yeah,
you just
I think
go.
You're right. Yep. And I feel like we've all been there in Storm League, where it's just like, you know, we gotta try something. For the love of God, we gotta make a play. Now, okay, I was about to say,
no problem.
I didn't see Zergling's HP, but WildHeart takes map 2.
Oh?
Okay. Oh,
Wait, a pause?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There we go.
It's too late for a pause.
It's a little bit late on that one, but either way, WildHeart does take map number 2, and I gotta be honest here, Grubby. WildHeart looks so good today. Like, Diamond Hands is a 3-0 team with a map score of 9-3. WildHeart 2-1, map score of 7-4. WildHeart looks like they should be the team that's 3-0 right now. Like, it's blowing me away how well they're playing. But of course, Justin, please, I'm sure you got thoughts about all this as well.
Yeah, it's Roger is popping off. 10-4 is the score.
Oh, come on,
again.
Please, no.
Like, I did.
That's what you thought
this...
about in the break.
Well, I just noticed it just happened that way. That it's 10-4 again.
It is 10-4 again. Actually, I didn't even notice that till he pointed it out.
Yeah, and he was a bit of a dodger too, so you could say like Roger Dodger 10-4. But anyways, so Sonya is not a hero, I think, if you're not playing double support, and we kind of saw that in this game. He felt like a detriment. There's a reason that things like Blaze and Dahaka and Hogger are kind of prioritized over everything else right now. There was that one time in the early game where you have Nintori 2 screens away on his mount, just kind of running in circles as Sonya, while 3 members from WildHeart just completely take his fort from right under him. A hero like Blaze or Hogger kind of has, they can at least walk up and trade some HP to kind of slow that down a bit. At the very least, they can peel it off, but Sonya doesn't really have any tools to do anything with that. He goes in for the leaps, and it's going to be a trade pretty much every time. Mason Blaze does go for the pivot into the sound barrier. We saw him holding his ult. I think he was holding it to see whether it was leap or not with the Bless Shield, because if it's leap and Bless Shield, then they suddenly become very combo focused, and it really only gets them kills if they go on more than one target. So I think going the shield with the sound barrier was really smart, actually. Also, if there's Wrath, the level 20 Mixing Fire gets a lot more value from Lucio if you're into a Wrath Sonya that wants to play these long sustainy fights. then you almost need that to be able to keep up at level 20. So I think that's part of the reason why we saw that. And him holding that on the role that he isn't currently playing is just really impressive from Mason Blaze. So Mason Blaze, my MVP for this game. He helped to show why Lucio is basically permanently banned in almost every game we see. He enables his whole team with the movement speed. Everyone from WildHeart is spacing really well, being able to kite out everyone on the side of Diamond Hands. And this might have been the most lopsided game I think we've pretty much ever seen this whole season.
Wow.
On Sky Temple, it was one keep to every single fort up for WildHeart. They had 2 forts that were about half HP. That's pretty much unheard of on Sky Temple. One reason that I wasn't a big fan of Sky Temple as a player was when you get behind, you kind of only have one play, and that's to push bottom with the boss. And when you're ahead, you kind of don't want to take any more risks. As soon as you get ahead, you're pretty much always constantly trading shots so frequently that once you're ahead by one fort or one structure, you're fine with just trading back and forth until the game ends and forcing the other team to start the boss and be in that kind of disadvantaged situation because the boss is so annoying to fight around, which we did see in that game. The tornado kind of splits everyone up. It's really risky to take that boss fight. So if you're ahead, you don't really have a lot of incentive to take risks. But WildHeart just kept getting more and more ahead to a point that we pretty much never see on Sky Temple. So as it stands right now, WildHeart looks like they're just by far the better team in the series. And it's only 2 games, but this feels like a 3-0 in the making. WildHeart is looking just incredible today. And Diamond Hands just not able to keep up.
I don't like calling series by any means, but I agree with you, Justin, 100%. I feel like WildHeart, they are gearing up for a 3-0, and Diamond Hands could rally and start to bring things back, but they've got a long road if they do want to reverse sweep WildHeart Esports, who are going to be sitting in the advantage spot. Next map would be a win for WildHeart, and that would also update their record to a 3-1. But of course, before we get into all of that, we are going to take a short little break. In that break, I encourage you to hit exclamation point prize pool. Why? Because you can push the prize pool further and further as you have generously done today. You've broken the $8,000 mark or the $8,000 challenge that I put forward to you, and now we've broke 8.5 as we're at $8,569.69. I challenge you, maybe we can hit 8,600 when we come back from the break. But as I said, we're going to go to a short little break. When we come back, WildHeart Esports, will they close things out or will Diamond Hands rally? Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we had a nice little break right there. We're getting geared up for map number 3 between Diamond Hands versus WildHeart Esports. And Justing, I mean, when you looked at the setup for today's matchup, did you think that this would be so heavily favored to WildHeart?
Definitely not. I was kind of hoping to see one team just do what WildHeart is doing right now. I like having a team that I can really feel like I can sort of consistently root for as the season progresses. I like seeing a team just... I would be totally happy as a viewer if one team just came through and kind of swept everybody. Like, I think it's fun to watch the team that is kind of showing the absolute highest level. I like seeing that personally, seeing how good teams can get. So if WildHeart's able to do that, or if either of these teams is able to do that in the series, I really like it a lot. That being said, this is where reverse sweeps start, and Diamond Hands historically has been a team that has had quite a few of those, so definitely can't count them out so far in the series, but WildHeart's looking incredibly strong so far.
Yeah, I think they could take this, but of course, Grubby, we got to know where we're going to before we start talking about the intensity of this matchup, and could you break it down for everyone at home where we're heading to for map number 3?
We are going to be headed towards Infernal Shrines. And this is, I would say, just like Garden of Terror, a fairly average map. It's not as punitive as Sky Temple. Comebacks are definitely possible. It's not as slow as Dragonshire. I'd say it's a pretty middle of the road map as well, where it is important that you have good area of effect damage in order to take as many skeletal defenders as you can when fighting an opponent. What's also really good here is heroes that utilize walls, such as Diablo charging into walls, because every single objective point is surrounded by walls, and therefore it is difficult to stay away from them when your opponent can abuse them. So picks like Diablo and Hager, and to a degree Hanzo, are extra strong here. I also like Maiev here. Yep, some of those picks are quite good. And you need to keep in mind that AoE damage is good, but backline damage dealers have trouble contesting top objective. So 1 out of 3 times it is going to be at the top, and you need to have a secondary plan to do something else on the map, like doing a strong push with some strong pushing heroes.
And fun fact, because it's actually confusing in fact, actually, neither of these teams have played Infernal Shrines yet this season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm looking over at my notes and I'm like, they've played almost every map. Tomb has not been played by WildHeart Esports, but neither of them playing Infernal Shrines. Like, Justin, it's such a tried and true esport Heroes of the Storm map. Like, this Battlefield and Towers of Doom, I feel like those are like the 3 maps I cast and I see the most between a lot of competitive teams, regardless of whatever division or skill level they're in.
Yeah, I think Shrines will always be my favorite map playing competitive. It's such a fun map to me, just standing in a 5v5, you know, saying like you're in this arena with me basically, like let's see which team is actually better at the 5v5. That's kind of what it is. And I love that aspect. I think team fighting is the most interesting part of Heroes of the Storm. So being in a map where you're kind of forced to take that 5v5, I like a lot. With the draft right now, really strange bans. Lucio is available and Dahaka is available, but they've banned out the Hogger and the Blaze. So Diamond Hands was willing to pick the Sonya in the last game. It didn't look great. This is a much better for a weird one. They forego picking either, so very weird. Lucio and Dahaka are both available. Yeah, if it's not picked, that is strange to me. Falstad is the one thing that got banned in the last game that could be a priority pick.
Yeah.
But there's no boss on this map, so it's not quite the same value with the Gust for that reason.
I'm also surprised that, I mean, it's a Brightwing first pick. Like, why not? I mean, I guess there's the AoE cleanse, there's Soothing Mist, there's Critical Mist and stuff like that. Like, I guess there are those big value heals, but like, I feel like Stukov is just so insanely strong on a map like Infernal Shrines. But I mean, Control could be the name of the game here, Grubby. Yrel with Righteous Hammer, Tychus with Grenades. I'm liking already what WildHeart grabs in the initial slots.
It's interesting and nice and refreshing to see not the immediate hearkening towards Lucio and Dahaka. Dahaka, global. Justin is saying it's a bit more of a 5-on-5 teamfight map. He is coming out now, and Dahaka is fine at a 5-on-5. You do still need side lane pressure, but it's interesting that WildHeart didn't go for that. Prioritizing Yrel, WildHeart has always kind of been a Yrel team, picking it more than almost any other team, even when their player rosters have changed. And going for it over Hogger and Blaze is super interesting. Do you understand this, Justin?
It's very strange. I can't help but think that the Yrel, the main advantage that Yrel has over the Dahaka is that she does a little bit of a better job of soloing out the objective. You do have a situation where you need your offlane to do that. Leoric does that the best out of the ones that are left that are fairly meta, but it is weird to take the Yrel for sure. I'm almost curious if WildHeart is looking to do something with Sergeant Hammer as well. That's something else that I was thinking about. Sergeant Hammer is very strong on this map, and if they don't pick something that's good against it, there's a high chance that Diamond Hands could look to go it. We have Unaverted already playing the Hanzo, potentially, and Unaverted known for his Hanzo, it makes sense for him to go to that, for him to go to Comfort. I think everyone on Diamond Hands is going for Comfort right now. The Chromie comes out, which is a good combo with Tychus, and is also like the notorious counter to Sergeant Hammer. So they've kind of covered that to some extent. And Diablo on this map, very, very strong. I think they're okay with trading that Lucio ban for these priority picks in the Diablo and the Chromie.
I want to throw it right back to you, Justin. Could WildHeart still just go Sergeant Hammer themselves and just have like this play under the umbrella of Hammer with the Chromie, the Tychus, and the Diablo, and then let Yrel just do Yrel things? Is that a possibility, or is that just too far into the weeds?
Probably too wild. They'd have Yrel with the level 4 being the healer in that case.
Why not?
So
Why not? I've seen
but
so many healerless comps. You don't need a healer if you just keep sieging. Come on now.
Maybe if the Chromie and the Tychus had a little bit more self-sustain, if they were slightly different. But
Just get rid of them. Just siege. Just go crazy.
It is the highest win rate talent for Yrel at level 4 in Storm League. The healing.
See? It totally makes sense. I'm seeing through it all, but these teams are just too cowardice to take it. But of course, Justin, you know everything, and can you break down for us what we should see here on Infernal Shrines map number 3?
So this map is all about team fighting on Infernal Shrines. I think that WildHeart's composition does a lot better at controlling space on the shrine. Yrel does a good job of it with the hammers. and potentially going into the damage reduction build, which is something that I was a big proponent of when I was still on WildHeart, so I'm sure that's at least thought of by Zergling if he wants it. Tychus Chromie is a kind of old school combo of heroes where you have frontline damage with the Tychus and you have a lot of control and backline damage with the Chromie, alongside Diablo on this map. WildHeart's composition is built for the map, and against double global with a lot less damage, I can't imagine Diamond Hands starting a reverse sweep here. WildHeart's composition is just nuts.
Well, we'll see if it's possible. Thank you as always, Justing, as we've got Filth on the Sylvanas, Unaverted on the Hanzo, Nintori on the Dahaka, Heavy on the Brightwing, and Caesar Salad playing that Murden. Over on the right, looking for a clean 3-0 to end today's games. WildHeart Esports, Zergling on the Urel, Roger on the Chromie, Mason Blaze on the Rhaegar, Ibtings on the Tychus, and Haben on the Diablo. You know, Grubby, one of my favorite things is just to bring up, like, a crazy, crazy idea in the draft. Like, let's go healerless, because Tychus can self-heal eventually, so can Urel. Diablo's fine, Chromie just stays away, so can Sergeant Hammer. But of course, I'm sure everyone at home is like, that's a crazy idea. But don't you think it could have worked? Please tell me.
Hit it though.
No, I just like the idea of the absolute wildness of WildHeart. I'm still missing when Justing was their lead drafter and we got these crazy compositions. But of course, we are here. We're in this game, and I'm reluctant to disagree with Justing here. I feel like it could be a WildHeart 3-0, or I feel like it will be a WildHeart 3-0. What are your thoughts on the drafts here?
Yeah, I like it. I like it for WildHeart quite a bit. Securing Tychus early to protect their later Diablo pick, and Diablo being so good on this map, it's really solid. Oh, nice kill there. Very nice early kill there on Sylvanas. Such a luxury when, as Diablo, you can actually overpower into Shadow Charge. That's a 5-man rotation by WildHeart before Dahaka could even react. Very, very nice.
Good rotation so far. We are going to be just having... Let's see... So I'm just looking at camp priority right now. So invade from WildHeart on the left-hand side. We do have the bottom lane to be grabbed by them as well. And then they'll probably retreat over to the right-hand side. Caesar Salad. little late on the little late on the time trap, but that's okay. I do want to point out Chromie did go into chronic conditions, which means 30% movement speed to allies, 30% movement speed reduction to enemies.
That instead of armor debuff, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like that's the more common one, is the armor debuff.
Maybe because Tychus already does percentage damage, and they're like, okay, it doesn't help for Tychus at least. We've got enough damage no matter what. Let's just make sure they can't get away. I mean, I'm just reaching here.
No, that's actually, no, I think you bring up a very good point, because if the enemy's slowed by the time trap, then Tychus can just stand still in auto, Chromie can easily land her combos, and then Rhaegar can follow up with another slowing totem, so he can layer that slow, Urel can jump in with the Avenging Wrath, and then Diablo, I mean, he's moving people around and all this, so I think there is this layered slow ability from the side of WildHeart Esports that I think you're recognizing here. I think this is actually a really, really nice, just layered CC combo in a sense.
Yeah, might be. Fun fact: if Dahaka did a deep tunnel, actually no. You know what? The time trap is there. Jeez, I was just thinking the way that they prepped this camp for a later synchronized push during the objective, and then left the point. A Stormleague Nova might have stolen it, just randomly checking it. Dahaka could have burrowed there, of course, though he had no way of knowing that it was cleared and not taken.
Wait, top?
But there was a time trap there that could have stopped it.
Dive onto Nintori. He's actually able to speed away, has the enhanced agility, moving at 124% movement speed for 5 seconds after tapping a bush, or after exiting a bush, excuse me. Begins the moment they get in there. That's a drag from Nintori onto Diablo. Haben unthreatened. I don't think Haben's actual health bar moved beyond the drag damage, but we have 15 apiece when it comes to Skeletal Defenders. A very narrow objective phase. I actually had one of these this past week, if I'm not mistaken, where it was like 38 to like 39, and it was like, oh, we're gonna get it, but that's a drag from Dahaka once again. That's a cleanse onto Zergling. Here comes the Shadow Charge from Haben, connecting onto Unaverted. Righteous Hammer into the wall. Big Soothing Mist from Brightwing to try and keep the allies healthy, as we do have objective to the side of WildHeart Esports. Well played from our WildHeart crew as they push in through mid. Uh-oh. Oh no, Murden's gone, okay. I was afraid that he was going to get jumped in lane.
It doesn't seem possible for Sylvanas' relatively low splash damage and Hanzo every 4 seconds having a Q that is not empowered by the level 1 quest, for them to get as much skeletons as quickly as the non-stop AoE pressure of Rehgar, of Yrel, and of Tychus, and even Diablo to a degree, more than Muradin. So that was just straight up greater pressure on skeletal defenders by WildHeart, despite both teams having a relatively even opening and setup into it. WildHeart's small advantage because of the kill and the bruiser camp advantage, but still, Diamond Hands gave up that top bruiser camp willingly because they said, hey, objective is more important, but as it turns out, they just can't pressure the skeletons as much as WildHeart, so Justin's words seems pretty prophetic here, but if there's any team that's going to be able to turn this around, it should be Diamond Hands because they are the comeback kings. They are 3-0 in the league so far, and well, they want to turn this into a full best of 5 if they can help it, but not for now. And Averted is getting attacked. Grenade! Bam! Ivy Tinks with the final blow.
I thought Heavy had the save there, but it's unfortunate. Rel comes through the bush with a Righteous Hammer, scouts out Caesar Salad, and he's able to just get away. Also, in a note, Diablo with that kill onto Hanzo does finish out his Black Soul Stone, so he's got that icon underneath his model, if you will, that does signify that he's got his 100 souls. Both teams can see this. Heavy will polymorph Haben into, for me, a squirrel, as the bottom lane siege continues. The reason being, well, they got the kill, they have 10 talent here just around the horizon, but also, the other factor, maybe a secondary, doubtful a tertiary, it's going to be a Mortar Punisher in the bottom lane, and with the slowing sands already out, the Commandeer Odin available, and the wave already pushed up, WildHeart are just, they're doing what we've seen them do in the other maps, which is just constantly pressure a fort and get that early passive gain. I do want to point out the cleanse right there was really, really nice. I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was an instant cleanse by Rehgar on the Drag Tongue. Like, he didn't even get moved. That was crazy.
Just timing from these players today, it's so on point. Like, between Lauber in the first game, I think it was like Nintori in the first map in this series on Garden of Terror with that drag on Genji. Like, there's so much nuance and mechanical savviness that we're seeing today between these teams, regardless of the actual scores that we are having between the matchups. Just still, a lot of great plays, a lot of great players. As I'm looking at top lane, Nintori, not going to get too far out here, won't get caught out by the rotation.
Note how almost everything is cold tones from Diamond Hands in their talent picks. You look at all those talent colors. There's only the Explosive Arrow and the Skullcracker that break the cold tones. The rest, those two are warm, and the rest is all cold. It's all green and blue skin.
I was thinking about like a bunch of different things in game, and I'm like, oh no, color palette. That's what Grubby's talking about. I agree. No, it's yeah. So you got a couple that are really not breaking up. Anyways, I think a little warmer on the side of WildHeart Esports as well, if you kind of look at it in a sense, with specifically
fairly
Diablo.
hot, in fact. Yeah.
They're almost like on like a winning streak or something. You could say. You know what? Speaking of WildHeart, we didn't get good comms earlier. You want to listen in now?
Yeah, let's go WildHeart.
Burden? Probably not.
Burden or jump?
They have wave pile though. Can't really step in.
I'm on the way.
Have to finish the wave first.
Sorry.
Kind of hard to play from here though, because scatters.
Yeah, replace your sand
You
spot.
can put sands there, yeah.
Yep.
I'm walking out the shrine now.
That's fine.
that's okay.
I play Shrine.
Just place close.
Hanjo?
Place close. They're
sorry.
careful.
Not bad.
I move speed on Haven.
Back and trying
There's
back.
zone.
Yeah.
They used everything. Really good. I can Odin too to secure.
I think we owed it.
They're not coming. I think they're giving, right?
No, they're crazy.
Don't want to use it yet. Okay, I'm gonna use it now. Haven in trouble. Okay, careful.
Yeah, I tap.
I'm still on Shrine.
I'm just hitting shrine.
I still cleanse.
I'm still
Only
trying to
Shrine?
fight this.
Oh my god.
Haven in trouble.
Finish Shrine.
Yes, Shrine.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. It's two more. Okay, nice.
Ivy cleanser.
There's no one
Ivy
back.
cleanser. Just run up circle. Okay.
I'm
It's gonna
fine.
jump soon.
Stands now. Okay.
Just push mid. Push mid. Fuck
Yeah,
bottom.
I just.
Leaving the WildHeart comms, we do get to we get some good insight into all of that, and I was trying to listen to Haben to kind of hear what he was maybe trying to communicate here and there. I wasn't sure if he was noting top lane or if it was just in the engagement, but I actually peeked up into top lane at one point, and I was watching that the Fallen Shamans were pushing up. WildHeart gets a double fort out of this. They lose their Diablo. Oh no,
Are you sure
feels
about that?
That's so unfortunate, but still,
Well, they
like,
got mid fort. You're still technically correct.
yes. Twitch chat can't judge me now. But
Top forward, mid forward, and Bahamut actually knew that bottom forward wasn't gonna fall. Like now it does, but
Yeah.
this is the next sequence of gameplay. That's so sick, Bahamut. I can't believe you knew it was gonna be 2 forwards, not 3. That's why.
I got Bandit helping
why
me
he
out
does
from
this.
time to time, but seriously, like WildHeart, they lose their Diablo, they get the objective, and they get essentially triple forward out of all of that. That you take that trade every day. And Diablo lost his souls. He was post 10, so he only consumed 75 with that change that came through a month or so ago. So like WildHeart's still in a very, very good spot regardless of the death.
100%. And I love that dynamic. Ivy Tings was ASMRing the whole fight
Yes.
and being that voice of calm, and Habin was constantly apologizing for not getting a successful engage. It's like, so this it was so funny.
And then you heard Zergling
So cool.
with some good information from time to time as well, coming in there as well, just kind of leading the charge with his like I seriously, I'm really, really liking the communication we've heard from WildHeart here, and if we do have an opportune moment for it, we can jump into Diamond Hands. I was going to swap comms, but it just wasn't one of those moments since Diamond Hands was losing out quite a bit across the map as things are being kind of cleared out, and WildHeart has started to carve away a bit of a lead here by about almost a level, maybe 3/4.
Yeah, that's about it. And if we see where that XP came from, it's actually mercenary XP for WildHeart is 4 times as high as it is for Diamond Hands. They've been taking all the cast rust. They have less minions,
Yeah.
but 4 times as high mercenary
Wow.
XP, and now more passive XP as well because they took down those forwards. And that's only going to keep going. WildHeart, quote unquote, wins this one by playing pure defense here. I'm not saying they have to.
Right.
With the XP, they absolutely could.
Caesar Salad gapping his own team, just trying to get in here, but there was no one to really step in because the Slowing Sands did zone. And Caesar Salad pops Avatar, has the Dwarf Toss away, losing most of his HP. A little over aggressive from the side of Diamond Hands. Felt kind of iridescent, or it felt the same as the last map towards the end with that Sonya leap in just to try and make something happen before the culmination of our Sky Temple map.
Yeah, he wanted to have a pre-16, right? And he
Yes.
immediately got completely marooned by his team and by WildHeart for that matter in a 1v5 with the slowing sands and whatnot. Lucky for him he got out because the Brightwing Z never materialized, as I believe it was Zergling on the backline with Yrel stomping her out of that animation of the phase shift.
Okay, so we get into another objective phase. 16 talent here, a quarter or less away for the side of Diamond Hands. Aben sets up in the bush, waiting to see the angle of engagement right now as there's the Slowing Sands to zone back the enemy. This is the reason we also talk a lot about Stukov on this map. He does a very similar thing with his Lurking Arm and some of these controller choke points, but now that 16's here for Caesar Salad and crew, they're rushing in, Grubby.
Is this going to be a huge Dragon Strike or will it be rather tiny? I'm going to say it was pretty small. A pretty small Dragon Strike.
Very small attempt right there. Haven low gets the cleanse. Lightning Breath to just start cooking up Nintori. Meanwhile, Zergling's in the backline. Ardent Defender was already used,
Wow.
and he will fall. But while that was happening, space was created, and Ivyting's on the Commandeer Road and will be getting most of the Skeletal Defenders. Time stop onto 2. Chromie looking for the damage. Godfilth goes in with the Haunting Wave.
Oh.
Oh my god, the Ancestor Healing comes through, but the second health bar on Mason Blaze will end. Diablo goes down. It's a triple kill to the side of Diamond Hands, but they still have to clear out the Punisher, which they can do in lane without losing much, if any, structural damage. Good grenade from Ivy right there.
Yeah, what's that, a 4 or 5 man grenade?
Yeah.
A really impressive defense by Diamond Hands. They got, I mean, this is like the first best thing that happened for them in this series, right? This completely nullifies the objective. They get experience equality. Let's look at it again. I mean, this was
Please,
just incredible.
Break it on down.
Let's break it down as we run the replay and we see, okay, the Dragon Strike, he does it before any CC happens. It actually zones out Diablo, which puts a lot of damage on Yrel, which pops her Absorbent Defender. That will be important later. Then they engage hard on the Haka. Doesn't seem incredible initially, but in comes the Lightning Breath. That's zoning everyone else. Now you suddenly have Unaverted turning on Zergling. They're on the left side under that picture-in-picture. He only dies because of that initial Dragon Strike, so I guess it was less small than I thought initially. Then, re-engage, Time Trap locks both Diablo and Muradin, which seems bad initially, but look at that, Godfilth! Changing target away from Diablo, knowing that Rhaegar and Chromie are waiting in the woodworks there, and they get the kill on Rhaegar. Meanwhile, back in the present, the Diablo dieback. Rhaegar also going down. It just keeps raining and pouring here for Diamond Hands.
And if anyone's wondering if you might have missed that right there, basically Diablo went in for a shadow charge, got pulled by Nintori with the drag, got hit with an isolation from the Dahaka as well, and that was kind of the swan song, if you will. But Godfeld goes in way too deep and ends up trading. Oh no, that was too aggressive, even though there's 2 dead. Ivy Tings is still a threat. I mean, Zergling too, as well as Rogers, so good trade, at least for the side of WildHeart, finding parity. But when we talk about parity, that's no longer existing because we do have level 19 to the side of Diamond Hands, level 18 on the side of WildHeart. That experience gap has shifted to our blue team. Phase shift from Brightwing. Yrel in the flank position, gets polymorphed, has to pop the Hand of Freedom to get that movement speed. That's why you're seeing her move so fast on mounted, because it's 30% movement speed when you do activate it. Actually, how long is it off the top? I don't remember off the 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Yeah. That makes sense. 30% for 3 seconds. There you go.
Now this is a really good kill on Sylvanas for WildHeart because it slows down the momentum that Diamond Hands was building up. Nonetheless, Diamond Hands does still reach Storm tier talents first, but it has to be said that WildHeart, despite basically losing 2 fights in a row, haven't lost a single fort. In fact, the paint is barely scratched. It's as good as new. Resale value is amazing. So Diamond Hands has to make something happen here. It's all fine and well to look at XP and kills and whatnot, but the thing that sticks the most of all is tower kills, is fort kills, and that's where they're struggling right now. With Sylvanas, it shouldn't be too hard. Hanzo siege damage is a little weak, but still, everyone has a hammer and a sword, right, to hit forts. That's what they're looking to do now. There's the Black Arrow. 1 fort will do wonders for Diamond Hands to alleviate map pressure.
Do you actually want to jump into Diamond Hands comms since they are ahead here?
Perfect time. Let's do it.
In we go.
I think just get shrine.
I'm looking mid here. We don't see him.
They see me in right bush. 2, 1. I think we should play.
Oh, they're mid. Yeah, I just want vision.
Yeah, can you make your way down? I'll switch over to top side.
I need a vision left side. Okay, I think they're left.
Yeah, you're all looking left. That's we have a big monkey lead. Just play to bot left and play to bot left.
I got
I'm just trying to control front line.
zoning. Yeah, I'm hitting your all.
He comes really close here.
No, unswap on your ult. You ever stunner?
We're giving too much space and trying.
Diablo. Okay, I'm stepping in.
No. Yeah, just chill.
I'm fine. Diablo.
Diablo. Yeah.
They're catching up in one.
Heroes coming to you.
Get out.
I got another dragon strike, zoning.
I pulled him off.
Just play. Alright.
Nice one, maybe.
No,
Left side,
Backline. Up. Yeah.
I'm with you. You're all.
We need to play monkey, I think. I hit
Can we
Diablo.
if we just lift.
We can kill Diablo.
I thought.
Yeah.
I have blink.
Get out.
Might be
We
out.
all live. It's huge.
I'm out.
Yeah, we can do it then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, done.
As we exit the comms of Diamond Hands, I feel like towards the end, at least what I could hear, you could almost hear the frustration in the actual clicking of keys. Like, once that Punisher happened, all I could hear was just the mashing of keys, and I'm like, maybe it was Hanzo trying to get the agility over the wall, but like, it's just, you know that it's just like, oh man, that's such a hard loss right there. Good pull onto the objective, or onto the Immortal right there from Nintori with the burrow. Haben gets very low. No Ancestral for some 50 seconds. The Diablo standing still. His souls are reset. He'll be back in 2 seconds. Hanzo traded. That's a big win for the side of WildHeart. Can they actually end? Because Brightwing's dead for 30. Hanzo 57. And Keep has fallen. Diablo on his way.
This ends. Odin is an objective by himself. Everyone is too low to protect this. I think this is going to be the victory here for WildHeart. They're looking to get the 3-0. Rhaegar trying to get the kill on Sylvanas. She gets away, but the Punisher's still here. Odin is still here. WildHeart, they get the objective. They steal the Skeletal Defender lead, and they go for the 3-0. GG, well played.
GG's to WildHeart Esports as they cleanly annihilate the members of Diamond Hands. I mean, they just sliced right through them, Justing. It was almost prismatically perfect, if you would. because it's like Diamond Hands, but it's WildHeart. Anyways, Justin, can you break everything down from the map that we just... I tried. I'm trying. I couldn't land a food analogy. I tried to land this one, but kind of just missed the landing completely. Anyways, Justin, take it away, please.
Yep. WildHeart stonks are rising. Diamond Hand stonks are plummeting here in this series. It is absolute annihilation for WildHeart here, just from start to finish. At the end there, that was about as close as it got for Diamond Hands being able to make any attempt to come back into the series. They gave the faintest showing of a potential reverse sweep, but it was kind of immediately walled off at the end there by the last fight. The Diablo Haben, something I noticed in this game, especially when we listen to the comms, is he was kind of just the distractor on Diablo. Every time he would go in for a fight, it's kind of just to fight, like non-stop, and create a bunch of space for his team to be able to get the objective. That kind of felt like the majority of the fights were going that way. Ibting's on the Tychus with the big red button at level 20, plus Grubby with the Slumming Sands. It's just so much control for the last objective fight. On the side of Diamond Hands, all they really have is the Dragon Pretzel, which kind of slows down the fight for a little bit. This was the one good fight for Diamond Hands, 16-16, where they get the 3-for-0, but they still don't get the objective. And this was kind of just off the back of Zergling getting a little bit too antsy here. As soon as he runs past that wall at the top part, he instantly gets turned on by Gotfilth, and that's sort of where things fall apart. But even still, he's kind of just yet again the distraction as the front line here for Ibtings and Roger on the Chromie and the Tychus to get the objective. And that was sort of the story of all of the fights, was even if the fight itself didn't go perfect for WildHeart, the front line was always just creating space so that the back line could get the objective, and Diamond Hand's composition just doesn't get the objective very easily. It takes a lot more effort. Diamond Hands kind of has to fight past the objective a bit. This was the stagger that started happening, where it seemed like maybe Diamond Hands was actually going to be able to mount a comeback in this game, because this opened up bot for it, which meant that had they won that last objective, they would have a real chance at winning the game, even being so far behind until that point. But Gotfilth playing a little bit too aggressively here, kind of does the reverse throw there. I don't want to call it that because they weren't really... I mean, they were making the comeback attempt, but after getting the objective, WildHeart's able to fairly easily clean this up. Again, Haven just playing super aggressively, but trading Diablo Souls for 1 kill at this point is absolutely super worth it. We've got the fadeaway there, just one-shotting unaverted as he's trying to escape on the Hanzo. It was just really well played by WildHeart all throughout. We had a lot of just better macro, better team fights. We listened to the comms, and WildHeart comms felt a little bit more concise. It felt like everybody was fairly evenly feeding information. It didn't feel like there was really anyone kind of being too controlling over the comms. It felt like everyone was kind of just on the same page by feeding information and all kind of taking in the information they were given in this and thinking about it in the same way, which is, I think, the best way to kind of have shot calling work, where everyone's kind of feeding information and everyone's naturally on the same page because of all the information being fed, and that's sort of how it feels like WildHeart is playing today. And yeah, they looked very good. WildHeart very deserved this 3-0 today over Diamond Hands.
WildHeart played extremely well right now, and we actually, I believe, have an interview with Roger ready to go, so we can bring him on in here and start quizzing him on all of his victories. Roger, how you feeling about your victory in HeroesCCL?
Hello guys, it feels really good. I'm pretty happy for it. This is like one of the things I really wanted to do, and having the first win in CCL is just amazing. I feel pretty good.
Well, I just want to say welcome to HeroesCCL, and welcome to your first victory, a 3-0 in that, so you definitely have to be on cloud 9 on that one. But of course, don't want to hog all the questions, want to throw a question over to Grubby first off.
Yo, Roger, it was really cool to see your inaugural matches here in CCL. Just want to get a check from you. How did you feel playing these games? Confidence level and mood?
Well, so before the match, like my team told me that we needed a sub like for this match, and but I really wanted to like be prepared for it. So like 2 weeks ago before the match, so I really like grinded. I practiced so much for it, and also in scrims it went pretty well. So I was like pretty confident that we're gonna bring a good result for this. So yeah, it felt pretty amazing. I was like in a good mood. My team is awesome. Like they just make the environment pretty good for me, and yeah, it feels good.
Yo, that's awesome. Congrats. You played really well, man.
Thank you.
I'm glad that WildHeart also told you way ahead, so you had this extra time to really practice up. And I gotta say, Roger, you You blew me away as someone. I really hope WildHeart actually utilizes you throughout the season, because your play with the team was so synergistic and it really looked great. But of course, Justin, any questions or anything for Roger here?
Yeah, first of all, congrats. It's definitely nice to have such a dominant win in your first CCL match. I touched on it a little bit in the broadcast because I'm somewhat familiar with it, but could you kind of go into some detail about sort of your history with some of the players on the team? Because I know that you guys have some synergy already built. It's not like your first time playing with some of these players, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it all started in 2020, I think. I met Mason. He was one of the first teammates I met. Like, he asked me to play with him in like for all the tournaments, and the first one, they was like pretty international level and like a pretty high competitive. It was NGS, and yeah, and then I used to play also with Wary like in 2021 too, and then with by then I met all the rest of the players like Zerglin and then IB and then, well, of course, Hybin. And yeah, I think we had like a good synergy between me and Mason. Like, we just, because we play a lot of times, but also I think like in general with this team on WildHeart, I think like we built a pretty good synergy. So it feels amazing for it, you know. So yeah.
I think that synergy was definitely seen today in the games that we saw, and a little bit in the comms that we did hear from all of you. Before we let you skedaddle out of here, the first thing I want to ask you actually is, next weekend you're going up against Chili Mountain. I don't know if you're going to be playing, but any thoughts as a team going up into Chili Mountain on Sunday, June 12th?
Well, I think Chile Mountain is one of the best teams in the world right now, and I think it's going to be a really good match for us. It's going to be a challenge, and I think overall we're just going to be prepared for it, like always. My team is just going to be ready. We're going to do some stuff, strategies and screams, and we're definitely do our best in that match. So I think it's going to be a really good match for us, and yeah.
Well, we look forward to commentating and watching and bringing all that action to everyone at home. Before you get out of here, one last thing. Any shout-outs that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours.
Oof. Okay. Well, shout out to
Were
you
you
guys,
prepared?
of course.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you guys, of course. But like, first of all, I think it's pretty good for all you guys had to sacrifice for this in CCL, and I appreciate it so much. Like, it's just one of the, you know, bringing this like HoTS community alive and all. I appreciate it. Shout outs to WildHeart, the organization, Gu, my team, Jocelyn, everyone that is part of the WildHeart. Like, thank you so much for the opportunity they gave me, and I really appreciate about it. Also, shout outs to Jake and Morgan from Goon, because they're gonna be like new parents, like mom and dad. So congratulations to them.
Nice.
And shout outs to everyone actually that is in the chat. Like, shout outs to you guys, and I hope you have a great day.
Well, thank you, Roger, for joining us. Congratulations on your victory. Good luck in your scrims in preparation for next weekend's matchup against Chili Mountain.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah, such a humble, nice man right there. Really cool to get a little insight as Justin had asked about his history with some of the WildHeart players. And I mean, as you had called it earlier, I mean, they played in NGS and other little things here and there. So really, really, really cool stuff. I personally, Grubby, I would love to see Roger more in the future. Like, nothing against about the core roster from WildHeart. It's just they looked so freaking good today.
Yeah, I don't want to see anyone replace or not play. Can we have like a 6 versus 5? But like,
yeah.
all we know, I'm with you. All we know is that if anyone on WildHeart is not available, they're in good hands. That's really good to know. Like, he played with the team just as good as anyone. So this is a very strong roster, and now resilient to change.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, they're hindered by utilizing their sub. No, I feel like they look just as strong, if not stronger, utilizing their sub. Great, honestly, just great series of the day. And we can talk more about the overall series because, oh, we got everyone's favorite segment of the day. We have got Justin and Springy's super duper amazing best clip of the day presented by Wisdom.
We sure do. We've got the best clip ever seen before, brought to you by Wisdom. So we can go ahead and pull that up. It's game 1 of this last series we just watched. It's the final fight that ends it all, or game 1. Got Filth really far on the right-hand side as Blaze, and Desperation here as the Giants are pushing in bottom. You saw the Light Bomb completely negated by Haven, and the turn around comes out from Haven with the Blessed Shield. And watch how Greymane is able to maneuver the fight as well. He kind of just avoids everything. He's constantly on the offensive. You have Ivy Tings burrowing in, or X-striking in, not burrowing, but the fight gets super split up. Zergling waited his time on the outside until the team got a little bit lower so that he could get his HP up. Goes in with the Hog Wild at level 20. The fight is super split after the engage. And this is the thing I talked about Anduin, is after he started healing, he had to kind of immediately run away. After dropping like one heal, the map is so big, he kind of has to just leave, and the team has to split up. That's part of the reason why that fight went so poorly, is if you're not winning the fight from the beginning, as Anduin, things get very bad very quickly. Everyone kind of had to ditch him and go their separate ways, but everyone's cleaned up in the end, and WildHeart just pretty much making every team fight look like that last one that ended the game 1.
It was, to say the least, it was a fantastic day of games, and I want to just, while we're wrapping up this series here, it was a 3-0 for WildHeart. Before we look at standings and all that kind of stuff, I want to do the same thing I always do. I want to get both of your thoughts on the series here between Diamond Hands and WildHeart. Any takeaways, Grubby?
Well, now there's only one team that is 3-0 still. Only 30k remains there with the unbroken record. Diamond Hand was taken down a peg here, and yeah, WildHeart looked scary. I thought this was going to be quite an even match. Diamond Hands even had the better rec, though they did beat some of the lower ranked teams, but this was just insane. WildHeart, they had this flow towards them today. They had this flow about them where their speed was high, the mistakes were low, everyone was doing what they had to, they piled on with great synergy. This is the kind of skill level increase that we're seeing as seasons in CCL progress. It's only going to get better, and it's so amazing that this culminates in the LAN finals where, well, that's probably no network issues. It's going to be like a perfect perfect ping for everyone, and it's going to be even better as everyone has the most possible practice going into that. But the level's already getting scarily high.
Yeah, I think week 4 is really where the teams are going to start ramping up, and I think you put it perfect, Grubby. Everyone is vying for the CCL LAN happening August 5th through 7 at Mall of America in the Wisdom Gaming Studios. So we're all excited about it. We all want to go. We all want to see who's there. I'm sure all the players do as well. But of course, we got many weeks of play. We got many weekends of play, and of course, we got those league standings updated for all of you at home. They're not completely updated because we still have 2 more best of 5s tomorrow, which we will break down for all of you. But right now, Justin, could you elaborate what we've seen, maybe a little bit of the shifting in the pack?
Yep, so shifting of the pack, we got WildHeart now almost the pack leader here with the 3-1 scoreline, taking Diamond Hands down to 3-1. So both of them on the same level now, but WildHeart ahead of them by a little bit. 30k, like Grubby mentioned, the only team left with a 3-0 scoreline, but tomorrow that might change. We could have a big 3-way tie for first place with 3-1s across the board. That could be quite interesting. And we see a lot more just separation happening. Granite Gaming falling to the 0-4 right now. We have Simplicity, who has yet to play, staying down there for now. Another team is going to get a win from the bottom of the pack. And you're going to get to the point soon where teams are thinking very far ahead. You're going to get to the point after these next matches that are going to be the utmost importance. You're going to start seeing kind of teams planning for the long run very soon, where you might start seeing some crazy roster changes and things like that for the bottom of the standings, playing for that gauntlet in mind once it starts getting kind of out of hand. Once they start seeing, like Granite, for example, being 0-4, I don't know the math, but they're probably getting very close to having to just think purely about the gauntlet. So it's going to start getting very, very interesting with a lot of changes coming up for sure after these last next week's matches.
Well, and you kind of alluded to it, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be seeing tomorrow here on Heroes Hearth broadcast. We are going to be seeing Chili Mountain up against Simplicity in 30k versus Oxygen Esports. Grubby, I do want to point out, because I alluded to this earlier, Simplicity actually made a roster change. This has already been public, it's already been tweeted, and its slips was actually released. Porky is going to be going to sub position, and Tiger JK was picked up for Simplicity, which we will be seeing him play tomorrow. And of course, 30k versus Oxygen. But any thoughts on that little roster change, or even the matchups tomorrow, Grubby?
Tiger JK is Korean?
He played in HGC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
Where he's from, I don't 100% know. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to see if he's Korean or not. There is a Tiger JK that's an American rapper that looks...
No, he's NA based. He's NA based. I
Okay.
googled him very quickly.
They couldn't find a 5th Korean player to have like the full language, synchronicity. But still, Simplicity with a roster change. Okay, let's see how that goes for them. Simplicity is currently at 0-3. They can either go 0-4, just like
Granite?
just like we saw Granite today, or they get their first victory. I think still Chili Mountain is going to be the favorite there. It's going to be an interesting match coming up for sure as we see how that roster change shakes out. So what you're saying is this was the play day everyone could have had a roster change, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And almost
So
nobody
this is
did.
the start. Yeah, exactly. Except for, well, tomorrow it'll be Simplicity is the only team to make a roster change thus far in Season 4.
Okay. Well, let's see how that plays out. Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting indeed. Just want to bring that fact up and kind of get everyone riled up and ready for tomorrow's matches, because it will be a lot of fun here on HeroesCCL. We'll be starting tomorrow at our normal time of 11 a.m. PDT, 2 o'clock EDT, and 20 CEST. From the Wisdom family and, well, us three as well, we thank you all so much for watching HeroesCCL. We really appreciate you donating to the prize pool, pushing us further and further. Maybe tomorrow we can hit 9K and we can get a fuzzy friend on stream. Maybe we'll get Springy to get a treat tomorrow. Maybe that's enough time for Justin to prep things for her, but we will see all of that tomorrow. Thank you as always for watching HeroesCCL, and we'll see you Sunday for more action. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you in the Nexus. Good night.